It looks absolutely gorgeous outside. Let's go down the stairs. At the fall as we're walking. I have my sunglasses on because I am anticipating bright sunshine and a beautiful day when I get outside. That's the perfect weather that you find up in northern Virginia this time of year. Yeah, every day's got its ups and downs, but I'm an optimist. I believe we're going to find good things. Let's see what we got here. All right. Leaving the building. Oh my goodness. Just as we thought. This is going to be fantastic. Good walk today. Hey, listen, I had some things on my brain as I was, waking up this morning, and I thought it would be really great if I could collect some of the lessons learned over the last 60 or so years and try to archive them for my grandchildren and for anybody who may find use in them. So, some of these will be meandering and wandering thoughts, but hopefully somebody can learn the lessons of somebody who's been there, done that, in a lot of different careers, by the way, had some measure of success, as some people would define it, and very comfortable in life. So generally happy too. I'm not saying every day is that way, every day is not fantastic, but I'd like to say that life is kind of like a Ferris wheel, and sometimes you are up on the top, sometimes you're down at the bottom, and it just goes around and around and around. And I truly believe that you just have to naturally expect there are going to be challenges in life, and sometimes you're going to be at the bottom. But if you're resilient, I truly believe, and I've seen time and time again, that you can make good things come out of things that seem like they are the worst thing that's ever happened to you. So, for example, getting fired from a job happens all the time. People lose their jobs. Listen, here's advice number one. All jobs end. Every single one of them is going to end. All careers end. Either you end it or they end it, but it does end. So the question is, what did you learn while you were doing it that you can take advantage of, that kind of springboards you into the next opportunity? So, this is kind of two pieces of advice in one. One is just be resilient and realize that you are at the bottom of a trough maybe, or at the bottom of the Ferris wheel, and you need to get back up to the top. You need to prepare yourself to get to the top. So just recognize that just because you're at the bottom now or you're at the top now, it's not going to last. Bad things happen, right? We get challenges all the time. I think it's important for people to kind of keep that in their mindset, that today is not every day. Today is just today. Today is a moment in time. And if you realize that things could change in an instant, and they often do, they often change in an instant. I know many times in life, the worst possible thing that we think could have happened to us, a medical diagnosis or loss of a job or something along those lines. You're in the moment, you're feeling really down, you don't feel very optimistic about things, and then for some reason, a couple of days later, something completely changes. So in thinking about the Ferris wheel analogy, where sometimes you're on top, sometimes you're on bottom, the goal is to minimize the time that you're at the bottom, right? Get back up on top, or at least be going back up on top in some way. Because that's the happy place in life, right? Where You've got the resources that you need. All your health is good. Your family's health is good. There's no immediate stresses in your life, and you get to focus on being, and you get to focus on peacefulness. So what can you do to put yourself in that position? That's the kind of mindset that you need to be thinking about all of the time. In my experience, education, learning something new every single day, seems to be the secret sauce that put me in the next position once I'm at the low end of the Ferris wheel, and I need to find a springboard to get back into a new situation or a new position. Something I've learned has always been very helpful. So I don't know what those things are. I don't know how I'm going to use them in the future, but if you learn something new every day, for some reason you needed that information or you needed that new little skill very much in the next opportunity, or at least to get the next opportunity. So, learn something new every day. You will be amazed at how your confidence will go up. You'll be amazed at the fact that you actually needed what you learned. It's crazy the way that works out. So there's a quote I really like, and it goes something like, luck is where opportunity and preparation meet. I love that. And I found it to be true. Often. It always seems like the better prepared I am, the luckier I get. And sometimes you don't even know what you're preparing for. You have no idea. You just know that something you learned 2 weeks ago came in really, really handy. Either you were able to use it in your own life, or you were able to share the information with somebody else to help them out. But the point is, you learned something and you were better prepared for when the time came that you needed it. You know what? I can't tell you how many times that this actually happened in my life. We all have this little mental toolkit, and every day you need to add something to that toolkit, a new little capability, a new little skill. It is really interesting how often I will learn something new, some piece of information, some new skill, some new way of doing something, and then 2 weeks later I actually need it for whatever it is that I'm doing. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm just seeing a pattern that isn't there, or if it's just reality of, wow, I learned it and I used it. Right? Learn and apply. That's really kind of the key to a lot of things in life, is learn it and apply it. And then you become good at it. Even if you've only done it a couple of times, you become really good at it compared to other people. And then you are in a good position to be of service to others, or to provide advice for other people. And a lot of times that comes with mistakes along the way. It's like a home repair. You end up over at Home Depot trying to find the parts that you need for something, and you get back to the house and you start to work on it, and then you realize, oh, I got the wrong size, or I didn't get the part that I needed. And so what do? You get in the car, you go back, and thank goodness Home Depot takes returns of slightly opened items. And so you return it to Home Depot, you get the right part, you're all excited, you go home, you get started with your repair again, and guess what? You didn't get the right part again, right? Okay, I know it's frustrating, but the point is that you're learning something along the way. You're learning, by both your successes and by your failures. Failures are fantastic, by the way. Every time you fail at something, you've learned a powerful lesson. I like to say that, pain is a wonderful teacher. Wonderful teacher. So, you go back to the concept of, you tell, somebody, don't touch that light bulb because it's on and it's hot. And they go, oh, don't worry, I can grab it. It's no big deal. And they reach up and they touch it, and they find out that they've burnt their fingers And, they're like walking around, ouch, ouch, ouch. Well, guess what? Pain has just taught them something more valuable than your advice. You told them, don't touch that thing. You told them it was going to be hot. For some reason, the brain didn't want to believe it, right? Not until they felt the pain of touching that light bulb. And then they realized, I'm not going to do that again. No way. That's not happening. So that's life. That's life. Right? We're not born knowing how to get things done or who to call when there's a problem, or how to fix something, or how to invest. We're not born knowing these things. Sometimes we have to do it over and over and over again and fail each and every time until we learn what works. Right? So, I don't know where this came from, but I've heard that people like Thomas Edison would say things similar to, for example, he was being interviewed, and I'm paraphrasing. He was being interviewed, and somebody asked him, didn't you get discouraged, when you tried 1,000 times to invent a light bulb and you failed? Didn't that discourage you? And he said something similar to, no, absolutely not, because I learned 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb. Okay, that's valuable information. Don't do that thing again. That was painful. Took time, resources, right? Time away from his family. Time away from peace. But he learned how to do it eventually. And then, because he knew how to do it, he could replicate it. That's a wonderful thing.